Vote was held tonight by the Manitowoc School Board to shake up district leadership. However, some parents are upset by saying the process lacked transparency and public feedback. Jason Zimmerman is just back from that meeting. He's live in our newsroom with the details. Jason.
Bill, the school board voted to eliminate 4 positions and add 3 others as part of a plan to restructure the central office. All of this after the recent hiring of a new superintendent. Parents Wednesday night hoping for answers as to why the Manitowoc Public School District is restructuring its central office.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye. A vote that came after no public feedback during the meeting and much of the discussion taking place in a closed session.
I think they need to back up. I think they need to slow down. I think it's the board's job to meet the community in the middle and not the parents' job to do so. We want transparency, we want ethical behavior, and we want a law-abiding board who follows the rules.
However, the school board president told us the changes are necessary as new superintendent James Files seeks to bring up student achievement scores which haven't met expectations.
When the superintendent came on board, we really told him, made sure that we were doing everything that we could to raise our achievement scores. And so that meant looking at our whole district and reorganizing our central office if we needed to.
District officials say they also consulted with legal counsel to discuss the issue in private because it involved personnel.
I think one of the things is that when you do a reorg like this, you need to talk about positions and actually individuals that are in those positions, and because that's confidential personnel information, we got to do that in a closed session.
Parents, though, also concerned that the newly hired assistant superintendent consulted with the district on the proposal before being hired, writing the job descriptions, even her own.
Then the recent hiring of an assistant superintendent without a nationwide search or even a thorough application process with more than one candidate presents some concerns as well to a lot of community members.
One board member tonight did vote against changes to the building and grounds positions, but everything else passed unanimously. Live in the newsroom, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2.